I will be talking about a couple of stuff that has happened recently in the top play community. However, this video is more just going to be talking about the current state of top play, because I think that genuinely it's 100% true that we can make the case that we are now in a new era of top play. Which is weird because usually, for the most part, when we talk about the specific eras of GD, is usually once a top 1 is verified that we class it as an era. Like, for example, when Slaughterhouse got, well, quote-unquote verified, that was the Slaughterhouse era, right? And we didn't really have another era until Acheron came along, and that was the first definitive top 1, and that was the Acheron era, and same for Tidal Wave, that was very obviously the next era of difficulty, and then when Thinking Space 2 and Flame Wall got placed, and Amethyst, stuff like that. That was our next era after it. And it feels like that's in the community how we've perceived skill to increase. It's just every time a new top 1 is being verified, we start to see a bunch of other levels get beat. We start to see a bunch of completions happen, and then the top 10 fills out. Because the top 10 that we have now looks nothing like what it was when Tidal Wave was top 1. When Tidal Wave was top 1, the entire top 10 here did not exist, to my knowledge. And the reason I'm talking about all this is because in my tabs here, you can see all these tabs I pulled up. Every single thing you see here is a current top 5 that is nearly verified. And only 2 of these aren't top 1 in difficulty. And we've really never seen this in the community ever. Like, usually we have only one person going for a top extreme with, like, serious progress. Sometimes we get 2, and in very rare cases we get it where we have, like, 3 upcoming top 1s, which we recently kind of had with Thinking Space 2, Amethyst, and Flame all getting verified around the same time. But I don't think there's ever been a single time in GD where we've been seeing this much progress. Like, we have Doggy with 84% on Grief, which he got this week. Tyago, not too long ago, got 86% on Sweeping Demon 2, which also is 100% certain to be top 1. We got our Shadow, who has been progressing on Cosmos Unleashed through the back of all of this, which is potentially probably harder than Grief. And he's been making crazy progress for years now. We have A6. A6 has also been popping off recently, with Vehemence getting some good runs, with A6 getting it in 2 runs recently, 2 weeks ago. And then, of course, we have Wpopoff and Doogie, who literally nearly every day are getting new bests on the level consistently, with Zoink recently getting 40%. And if you look at this stream here, like, look at this from Wpopoff. 4 days ago, 47. 3 days ago, 51. 1 day ago, 55. 17 hours ago, 63%. These are just constant progresses. And then, of course, we have No Name. 9 days ago, he got Eternal Silence, which is pretty much just the original Silent Club step, not the nerfed one that we have now on the list, the fully original one. And he has it in 1 death, 100% in 1 death, and that is probably top 1. And of course, we have people like Doobs, who is nearly beating Ashley Wave Trials, and there's 2 other people that have major progress on it right now. And then there's Hover, who 3 hours ago got 62% on Silent Acropolis, which is a potential top 5, harder than Tidal Wave maybe. And of course, we have Africa Circles getting verified. I didn't cover it here, I didn't put it on the tab because it's currently being dropped for a bit. However, that is being close to verified, and that's also top 5. What I think is the most interesting is we're seeing so many people now try and verify a new top 1. However, the actual, like, top levels have next to nobody beating them. Like, the top 3, for example. Amethyst has Zoink. Literally just Zoink, and no one's even gotten close to list percent yet on this. That is absolutely crazy for how long that this has been on the list for. As you can see, it got placed in the halfway point of 2025. We're nearly in the halfway point of 2026, which means, like, for a year pretty much, this is just sat here dormant. And then Flame Wall, we've had Zoink again, we had Z Levi, and then we have Laser, I believe this is, if I'm not mistaken. And again, we have Thinking Space 2, which, keep in mind, many people have said this could be even easier than Amethyst, which is currently top 3. And Nethermind is the only person to have actually gotten any, like, significant progress on it. Now, he's popping off, but keep in mind, on the stats viewer, like, he is up there with Popoff and Zoink now, nearly. So, like, for the whole general community as a whole, these levels have just been untouched. But yet, here you go. It's clear that people have the skill to do so. I don't think this is, like, a bad or good thing for the community. I just find this really super interesting to see. I think it allows for a much more hyped up GD sphere when it comes to top play. But I do think it's just weird that we're just seeing no one touch these levels and they're all touching these other top ones. And it makes me think that people who say that we're close to skill limit, no, we're getting closer to the skill cap. That, yeah, sure, technically we're getting close to the skill cap. We're getting closer. But I think this should just throw out the window in your heads that we're, like, going to reach a skill limit, a skill ceiling in the next couple of years. That is just not going to happen. We've had this exact conversation when stuff like Cataclysm and Bloodbath got verified. When Bloodbath got verified, people were like, nope, that's the hard limit. This took like 9 months to get a Victor in the form of Quasar, and then serve a bit later. We are never going to see something remotely of a same difficulty jump ever happen, right? And then guess what? Something gets placed above it. Sucoup in Hell. And then something gets placed above that. And above that. And it keeps going. But then for some reason we keep as a community saying, okay, that's this one's the limit. But it just never is. So I expect for years to come us to see more and more hard levels get verified. Eternus has been done in less than 10 runs now by a singular person, I think. That's gonna get verified. We have stuff like Angelicide in free runs. Like, yeah, that's getting verified. That's in free runs. I think a more interesting take is to decide on what point in difficulty does it become, like, actually physically not possible for a human. Not in the mind that, oh, I can't comprehend someone doing this, but in the fact that, no, as a human being, this isn't doable to complete. Like, where is the hard limit there? I think that's a more interesting conversation. Or having the conversation about if levels should now start having alternating or be longer to maybe accommodate for the condensed difficulty that we're starting to see plague levels like Thinking Space 2 because of this difficulty issue. This guy here has really interesting videos on that topic, which I recommend you to go watch. But yeah, I don't really have much more to say on this. I just wanted to do a little yap session about this, because I didn't really see any more news going about, but I have been seeing all these crazy top 1 progresses that I haven't talked about, so I thought we should just talk about the general consensus on what's going on instead. So yeah, don't got much more to say. Thanks for watching. Peace.